What's happening, guys? Today I want to talk about why we can see changes in body composition but not see changes in that pesky scale. Okay, so this question actually came from a client of mine who recently started a cut about a month ago, and while really tremendous changes are happening in body composition right now, there isn't a whole lot of weight loss that's coming along with it. And her question was, how come sometimes we see nice changes in body composition but scale weight doesn't reflect that? Because, you know, it's just typical, it's normal to look at scale and kind of think that that shows results. So how come sometimes it doesn't show what's actually happening with our body? So one thing we have to keep in mind with these short-term fluctuations in body weight, because you've probably noticed if you weigh yourself more frequently, you can go day to day and it can go up and down a pound easily. All right, there's a lot of fluctuation in daily weight. So you have to keep in mind that the majority of this weight fluctuation has nothing to do with fat itself. It has more to do with water weight, hormones, sodium intake, which doesn't mean sodium is bad for the record, glycogen stores, food still digesting in your system, fluids that you've drank that are still in your system, even like workout-induced edema can be a factor. Right? There's a lot of things that factor into your body weight, and it's way beyond just fat. So you can see changes in body composition and have your weight not necessarily accurately reflect what you are seeing. So that's why it's really important that you actually take progress pictures and that you are looking at things like not only the progress pictures, but how your clothes are fitting, how you're feeling, all these different things like that all add up to results, and scale weight is not necessarily going to be an accurate reflection. Now, it doesn't mean you shouldn't ever weigh yourself. It's just you have to understand that scale weight is just one tool in the tool belt. It's just one thing to look at, but it's not the be-all, end-all when it comes to results. So if you are doing weights, I really highly recommend, if you can do this. Some people can, some people can't. Some people, it drives them insane. For me, I think this works the best, where you take a daily weigh-in every morning when you first wake up, after going to the bathroom, so you can control as many variables as possible, and that you record that for 7 days, and then you take an average of that, and that's your week, that's your actual weight. You know, you consider that your weight, and then for the next week you do the same thing. Then at the end of the week, your average, that's your weight, and that way you can see more accurate reflections. Because if you try to figure out what's happening daily, you'll just go mad. Like, it just doesn't work. So you have to keep that in mind. Now, something else that I'm not super familiar with, and I was actually having this conversation with Paul Ravella at the gym the other day, because we were talking about this very subject, and we were also talking about how, like, we've both seen personally, not only with ourselves but with clients, that sometimes, like, you can flatline with weight. You're still seeing changes in body composition, weight is just staying the same. And then all of a sudden it'll just drop, like out of nowhere. You'll drop like 2 pounds and it'll stay down. So it just doesn't really make a whole lot of sense, but sometimes it happens. And he was saying that there's actually a theory out there, don't know how much truth there is to it, where sometimes, you know, when the fat leaves the fat cells, those cells now take up water to kind of replace that fat, so to speak. And so now it's still holding roughly the same amount of weight, even though you've lost that fat. And then eventually that water will release from those cells, and then you'll see that drop. So that's a potential reason why that could happen too. And actually, this did happen with this very client. A couple days later, her weight just dipped, like almost 3 pounds, like out of nowhere. And whether it's gonna stay the same or not, I don't know. But it's just one of those things you have to understand, that scale weight is just one tool. I know I just said this, but it's just one thing to look at, and it's not the only thing we should look at. All right, there's much more important things than weight. I think it's good to look at it if you can deal with it mentally. It can be a helpful tool, but it doesn't necessarily mean that things are going well or not well, depending on what the scale says. So just something to keep in mind. Hopefully that helps. If you guys have any questions at all, please drop them in the comments below and I'll get back to you. Otherwise, I will talk to you in the next video.
I'm addicted to the love that you're giving. Every minute, every day I've been craving.